Hi everyone, my name is Laura and welcome to Book Bubbler. It is just after midnight on Sunday, December 15th, well technically Monday the 16th, and I have managed to finish 8 books, if I'm counting correctly, since my last update a few days ago. So I'll get right into it so I can go to sleep. No promises on how much this will make sense. Let's hope for the best here. So first I read An Early Wake by Sheila Connolly. This is the 3rd book in the County Cork series, cozy mystery series set in Leap, Ireland. This was an ebook from the library. This one, Mira Donovan, who owns Sullivan's Pub, who inherited it, finds out from a new person in town that Sullivan's used to host a lot of music nights. Famous people and famous musicians or bands used to the word would kind of go out and they would all show up at Sullivan's for music nights, and people would come from all over, tourists, locals, everyone would come. So they decided to start it up again because of this new person that shows up. And then one of the good old boys gets killed the first night. So Maura, of course, investigates even though she's not supposed to. And it was interesting. It was nice hearing about the place, what things were like in the 90s for musicians a little bit. Don't know if that's totally accurate, but it seems accurate, so let's just go with it. And yeah, this was good. I liked it. I am so thankful for cozy mysteries because it's something to read when I can't sleep and when I have insomnia, and it keeps me awake and interested and distracted from the not sleeping, but not so much that I get super stressed out and anxious over someone being stalked or who did it or whatever. Like, I can still sleep okay afterwards. It doesn't make me too freaked out. So that was enjoyable. That is An Early Wake. Next up is Gold Experience by Jim Walsh. He is a reporter, was a reporter for the Minneapolis Star, I want to say, newspaper in the 90s through the early 2000s. This is a collection of all of his articles about Prince and his whole time writing about Prince when he was working. This doesn't make sense, sorry. So it opens with him going to take his son to the park to play and then hearing on the radio that Prince died. So he turns around and goes home, and this is just a collection of all of his work. So it was interesting to get different viewpoints through different points in his career, because Prince was so prolific and was putting out albums like every 3 and 4 months sometimes. Do you guys remember that? In like the mid-90s especially, he was so prolific. So to hear him review different things or talk about all the different sets that they would put on, and like the new Power Store in Minneapolis, which I had forgotten that was a thing that existed. Yeah, just all sorts of stuff. It was interesting. There were some asides that he had in there, conversations he had with Prince or his people before or after an article was published. I liked it. Really recommended for fans of Prince only. If you're a casual person, you won't really care. But it really was nice to read some of the stuff in the 90s. And I will say a thank you to my friend Gina, my BFF from high school. What up, girl? She loves Prince, and she was the one that got me more into him, aside from just what you hear on the radio, which everyone knew him in the 80s on the radio. So she got me into more obscure things and albums, and yeah, that made me like him even more. So thanks, Gina. I read this sort of because of you, but yeah, interesting. Gina, I don't think you would like reading this so much. You might like his Maite, or Maite's book about him, which I'm working on. It's okay so far, but it's early days still. Okay, my next book. Actually, these next 2 books are recommendations from Simon at Savage Reads. This short little thing is called You Should Have Left by Daniel Kehlmann, translated from German by Ross Benjamin. It is a creepy, dark tale about a writer and his wife and young daughter who rent a house in the country, and just so he can write his next screenplay. And the marriage isn't great, but they get along fine for the child, and he slowly starts to lose his mind. His daughter is there with him, his wife leaves at a certain point, so it's just the 2 of them, and he's stuck in this house. He can't get out. reflections don't match up. There aren't any right angles, though it's a newly built house. It was really twisted in a nice way. That doesn't sound right either. It's creepy and disturbing, but you're right there with him when he's losing his grip, and the things he tries to think of to get out of it and to actually physically leave the house or leave a certain room, they make sense. You know, you're right there with him. So this is really interesting. It's a great October read. It would be great for then. That's when I originally checked this out. Get into it now. But yeah, this was really, really good. So thank you, Simon. I would never have heard of this if not for him. First line's done. This next one is not thin, it is chunky. This is Thornhill by Pam Smy. This is, again, a dark tale graphic novel told in 2 timelines, one 1982 and 3, I believe, and through journal entries. And then it's also wordlessly told in 2017, so present day. And I'm trying to find a good example here. Okay, so here is a diary section from the 80s. And then there's blank pages. These black pages are between every time jump, I think, and or either every, here's the next page from 2017, looking out onto Thornhill House. This is early in the book, so I'm not really giving anything away. But, so it's sort of half in pictures and half in these diary entries, and there she goes. It's so creepy, and I was not sure exactly what was going on for the first 100 and 150 pages, and I was thinking about stopping, and I thought, no, I mean, just keep going. It's not like it's this big, dense chunk of a textbook or anything. And all of a sudden, I got sucked right into it. It was really, really great. Very creepy. I think if I would have read this when I was smaller, like say 6th grade, you know, 12 years old or something, I would have really, really loved it a lot more. It sort of reminded me of John Bellairs, who was one of my favorite authors from that time in my life. But yeah, really good. And it ends on such a deliciously creepy note. I really, really enjoyed it. So yeah, recommended for sure. And thank you, Simon, for bringing it up and recommending it to everybody. I don't know if I would have seen it. Both of those books were in my library system, which was sort of surprising to me. But yeah, really, really good. So the next 2 are about Doctor Who. This one, Doctor Who, The Complete Guide by Mark Campbell. I could not stand this book. It was terrible. I'm getting rid of it as soon as I film this. It is this one man's opinion on every single episode of Doctor Who, up to Matt Smith or through Matt Smith. You know what? It doesn't matter. It's terrible. Unless you are this person, or you're friends with them, or you know who this person is. I don't know who this person is. I don't care what he thinks about individual episodes. He lists the main actors and their character names. He lists one sentence, not even a complete sentence, it ends in ellipses, sort of summary about the plot. Then there is like a 2 or 3 sentence wrap up of what he thought, with a rating like 1 of 10 or 6 of 10 or whatever. I don't care. I don't care. I've had this book since 2008 at least, if not earlier, and I'm only sorry I didn't look at this before and realize that it was kind of crappy and just got rid of it. Next, though, was better. This is Doctor Who, the official Miscellany. This one I think I'll keep as a reference. This goes through all sorts of stuff. Don't cover the cover, Laura. You know, actors who played small parts in Doctor Who throughout the years, and then who went on to play someone in a British soap like EastEnders or Coronation Street or something. A list of every companion ever and who their family was. All the different kinds of Cybermen and stuff. This was much more interesting and would be much more fun to flip through. Great for trivia nights and stuff. So I'll keep this one recommended if you are a Whovian. I am not so much into Doctor Who now, oops, as I used to be, but that's okay. These next two are graphic novels I just finished tonight. This first one is They Called Us Enemy by George Takei. It's been around BookTube a lot lately, and rightfully so. It's a wonderful account of a horrible time in the U.S.'s history. You can't help but draw parallels to what's happening now. It's still disgusting, but I think it's really important that people know what happened to Japanese Americans in the 1940s, where they were put in camps and how they were treated before and after. Yeah, wonderful. I always liked George Takei. He always seemed like a really fun, nice person, a normal person. And I really love him after reading this. So highly recommended. There are, I think, 2 different episodes of PBS shows that cover the Japanese internment camps. I had seen them when they were first out, I don't know, a long time ago, but I really recommend that you look into them too. I think one was on American Experience, the other one I don't remember, but I had seen them previously years ago, and then when I saw that this was coming out, this graphic novel, I really wanted to read it, and I'm glad I finally did. And then this last book is 5-star read, one of my favorites of the year so far. I'm glad I got it in before the end of the year, and that is Good Talk by Mira Jacob. This has been, again, bopping around BookTube quite a bit. It is a memoir by Mira about, starts out with her son asking questions about race, well, Michael Jackson at first, which is amusing and also sort of sad at the same time. And then it goes through, you know, the last 20 years of American history, her life growing up, what life is like in New York City. She was there when on 9/11, what that was like for everyone, how everybody felt, how she was treated, her dating and marrying her husband. You know, so it goes back and forth in time. It never is confusing to follow, but it covers all sorts of things about American life, and it is wonderful. I really like the art style too. A lot of it will be like a photograph and then one of her illustrations over the top of it. It was really effective. I hadn't seen that before, and I really, really liked it, like these. And it's just great. I want to buy this for everybody for Christmas. It's just such an American story. It's so beautifully told. It's thoughtful. She really captures how a lot of us have felt, do feel about the current political climate in the States, how we felt when Barack Obama got elected, all sorts of stuff. It's just so wonderful. If you are all interested in this, if any of this rambling makes sense to you and your interest is piqued, I highly recommend it. It is so good. I'm going to buy myself a copy to own. I want to read it again. It is just really fantastic. So highly, highly, highly recommend. Mira Jacob. And now I have to go find her novel too. So that's that. It is 12:30 at night, early Monday morning. I have a little time off between Christmas and New Year's, a couple of weird days. I do work, but it's not a ton. So today's technically the 16th. So in 15 days, math is never my strong suit, I'll say it, not to mention after midnight when I'm trying to record a YouTube video and make some kind of sense. So that's just over 2 weeks, and I have to read 25 books to make my Goodreads goal of 175. I think I maybe can do it. We'll see. Anyways, thanks for sticking around. I hope I made sense. Leave me a comment below if you have read any of these books, if you have recommendations for anything similar to, especially Good Talk or They Called Us Enemy. I would love to read more graphic novels. It's a genre I have gotten into a lot the last 5 or 6 years, and I have read a ton of the big hits, but I always want to read more. I mean, they're just such a wonderful medium. Illustrations, man, are awesome. So I am going to stop rambling and wrap this up. Subscribe if you're new, give me a thumbs up, all the more YouTube stuff, you know what to do, and I will hopefully talk to you guys soon in the next one. Bye.